Can't see anything because of the window. Oh, that's better. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay, this is the Free Math Tutor, and this Periscope broadcast is a math lesson that will show how to find the equation of a straight line that is parallel to a given vertical line and that goes through a given point. In this case, I can answer the question without doing any calculations. I know that any line that is parallel to this vertical line, and I know this line is vertical because there is no y in the equation, must also be a vertical line. And any vertical line that goes through this slope, any vertical line that goes through this point has to have the equation x equals 1 in the form x equals constant. The x coordinate of the given point is 1. I'm going to start over. Okay, this Periscope broadcast is a math lesson that shows how to find the equation of a line that is parallel to a given vertical line and that goes through a given point. There is a shortcut to answering this question. If a line does not have a y in the equation, it must be vertical, and any line that is parallel to a vertical line must also be vertical, and therefore it could be given with an equation in the form x equals constant. If that line goes through this point, the constant has to be 1. So I know the answer to the question is going to be x equals 1. But the trouble is, how do I justify that in order to earn full marks if I'm being asked to do this on an exam? If you explain everything in a paragraph form, you could possibly get full marks. But most of my students don't like having to explain things, and they prefer to have math explanations, calculations that give their justifications. So this is what I'm going to show you how to do. We have the first line, the vertical line that goes through 7. That is the line x equals 7 that I have graphed. Any line that is parallel to it and goes through 1, 3 is going to be a vertical line up here closer to the y-axis. The first thing I have to do, though, to justify my answer is to find the slope of the line that was given. The line that was given is vertical, so using theory, since there is no y in the equation, I have a vertical line and the slope must be undefined. I can give 1 over 0 as an undefined slope. In general form, I can use algebra to manipulate that equation until it is 1x plus 0y minus 7 equals 0, and then this short formula for slope, negative a over b, gives me negative 1 over 0. Of course, negative 1 over 0 is also an undefined fraction, and is equivalent to this 1 over 0 undefined fraction. It doesn't matter which one you use in the next step, so long as the fraction that you use is an undefined fraction with a 0 in the denominator. So I'm going to use 1 over 0. I plug it into the slope position in the slope formula. But I have to justify my slope. How do I know that the line I'm looking for has this slope? To fully justify, I have to say slope 1 equals undefined. Line 1 is parallel to line 2. Therefore, slope 2 has to be equal to 1 over 0 as well. Now my slopes are justified and it's okay for me to use this. I keep the x and the y in the formula because I want x's and y's in my final answer. It is an equation. And I have another space for a point. I have to enter a point and I have to use this point. The only one I know for sure is on the line that I'm looking for. So 1 goes here, 3 goes there. Cross multiplying, bottom times top gives me 0 times y minus 3. And top times bottom gives me 1 times x minus 1. Of course, 0 times anything is 0, so the left side just becomes 0. And the right side is x minus 1. At this point, I have an equation which is a valid answer to the question because this can be accepted as part of general form. ax plus by plus c equals 0. I could also write it as 1x plus 0y minus 1 equals 0, and that's also in general form. It is impossible to give this equation in standard form because to do that you have to isolate y, and there is no y in the equation to isolate. But I can also give it in the form x equals constant, and this equation written in that form will give me x equals 1, the answer I always knew I was going to get. So how do we find the equation of a line that is parallel to a vertical line and goes through a given point? We have to find our slope, which will be undefined. We have to justify our second slope by saying, I know the first slope, I know the lines are parallel, therefore I know the second slope is the same. And then we use that second slope in the slope formula with the point that is given. Simplifying, we get our answer. This is the Free Math Tutor. To see this math lesson and many other math lessons like it, go to www.thefreemathtutor.com anytime you want. There are hundreds of short videos like this one on there. Thank you.